Thank you, everybody, for joining, or if you're watching at home, thank you for taking the time to hear from our panelists about Mardi Gras do's, don'ts, and just general ways to keep yourself safe and make sure that you have fun this season. It is a really fun season, but there are a lot of things that we need to just be mindful of. And so I wanted to just go ahead and start by introducing our panelists. Dean Woodley, would you want to go ahead and start and introduce yourself, your job title, what you do in relation to Tulane, and then your favorite parade during Mardi Gras season?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Woodley, and I'm an Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, and I'm the Dean of Students at Tulane. And what that means is I do a lot of things from overseeing the Office of Student Conduct. I help students who need support or help. We oversee our kind of on-call system. There are a lot of kind of support services that roll up through me. And my favorite Mardi Gras parade is probably Crew de Vue.
That's a good one. Bridget?
All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Brigid Collins. I am the Tulane Legal Assistance Program Director, I guess, of attorney for the criminal division. I have been practicing law for over 20 plus years. I've been a prosecutor, a criminal defense attorney, a civil plaintiff's attorney, a commissioner in criminal court, and now I am practicing as a private criminal defense attorney, focusing mainly on criminal defense and administrative hearings, such as representing police officers, firemen in their civil service hearings, as well as doing the Tulane criminal defense work. I am here on Monday evenings from 3 o'clock until 7 o'clock, or 3:20 to 7:20, but available whenever necessary. My phone number will pop up on the screen in a few minutes, and I'm available. If I don't answer, it's usually because I'm either in court or just unavailable for whatever reason, and you're always free to send me a text, and I will get back in touch with you as quickly as possible. My favorite parade. It used to be Orpheus, but now I'm too old to go to Orpheus on Monday nights. So I think it's gonna have to either be Irish or Toth because I like the day parades now.
Those are good parades. Captain Williams?
Hi, I'm Captain Troy Williams. I'm with Tulane University Police Department. Prior to being here, I was with the New Orleans Police Department for a long time. I oversee the Uptown District, including the mile around the campus. I guess I'm not a big fan of parades anymore because I had to work them all, but my favorite would be Rex or Zulu because that's when it's over.
That is a very real answer.
The truck parade.
Right.
Shriya?
Hi, everybody. My name is Shriya. I'm a master's in public health epidemiology major at Tulane, and I am the president of the Graduate and Professional Student Association, which is otherwise known in short form as GAPSA. What I do is I attend Senate meetings and meet up with student affairs and various campus partners so that, any issues that go on with the graduate and professional students, I'll be the one representing them. And, we collaborate with the student government associations of the various graduate and professional schools, have assembly meetings, and discuss how, if anything comes up, we would be the voices for them and represent them and make sure that everybody has a good experience on campus. Well, I've been in New Orleans for 3 years, 2.5 years to be more technical. And out of all the 3 years, a consistent favorite parade of mine has to be Muses. Definitely Muses. That's like my top favorite. And recently, Cleopatra has become my favorite right now.
I love it. Kioja?
Hi everyone, my name is Kioja Johnson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a senior here at Tulane. I am the co-chair of Tulane Undergraduate Assembly, which is Tulane student undergrad student government. I'm also president of HART, which is Harm Education Awareness Reduction at Tulane. It's a drug harm reduction coalition by students for students. And I would say my favorite parade is definitely Zulu.
I love it. And finally, Roma?
Hi everyone, my name is Roma. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm a senior here at Tulane, in undergrad. And I'm also in the Tulane Undergraduate Assembly with Kioja, and I serve as the chair of the Access, Belonging, and Change Committee. And I'm also part of HEART, which is our harm reduction organization here on campus. So very excited to talk to everyone today. And my favorite parade is also Shriya, Gotta Be Muses coming up on Thursday. Very excited. Hopefully, I can get a shoe this year. I haven't yet. So,
Your last year. We'll cross our fingers. Well, I wanted to just start. Brigid, we have a little bit of a presentation just on do's, don'ts, kind of just a general overview of being safe during Mardi Gras and Penny. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Penny. And so I'll just turn the floor over to Brigid.
Sure, thank you. Um, Again, like I said, my phone number is on this card, so that you can screenshot it, you can cut and paste it, whatever you need to do. I think it's already started to be passed around, at least through the fraternities and sororities. I did a presentation with them a couple weeks ago, but it is available on the website as well. But yeah, it's just some basic do's and don'ts, and it's mostly common sense, but it's overwhelming to be out there and be in these large crowds for your first time or second time even, and you want to make sure you're as safe as you can be and not getting into any trouble. And if you do get in trouble, you know who to call. So just basically, it's of course be safe, have fun, be polite to everybody around you. For the most part, everybody at these parades, they're just out there to have a good time. And the more polite you are to the people that are around you, the more fun you're gonna have because you're gonna make parade friends. I have parade friends from college that I still see out on parade routes, and it's just from being polite while out on the parade route. Always obey the police officer's instructions. As Captain Williams said, it's a long haul for these police officers. He didn't say that, but you could tell it in his voice. It's a long haul for these officers. They've already been out there for, I think, a week and a half right now. They're working long shifts, they're working their regular shifts, and then they're having to deal with, as we saw in the news yesterday, even riders sometimes on floats, pelting them with beads, and it's tiring for them. So if they give you an instruction, follow it. Even if you don't want to, just go ahead and follow it. Don't cross a parade route that they tell you not to cross. Don't climb over a barricade that they're telling you not to climb over. If they tell you don't lean over the barricade to grab a trinket, don't do it. It's for your own safety and your own well-being. Um, Along those lines, also, and I think this might sometimes even be more important than the police officer instruction, is pay attention to the band moms because the band moms are out there and they are out there protecting their children and making sure that they are safe along the route. And they don't care about you. They care about their children. If they tell you to step back and listen to what they say because when you don't, they're going to go get the police officer and you're going to have trouble. And you don't want that. Again, you just want to be out there, have fun, enjoy watching the parade, enjoy the floats, enjoy the horses, enjoy the bands. Um, and you don't need any other trouble. Um, we put on here, stay hydrated and be prepared. And that's, kind of obvious. You're out there for long days, especially if you start on the weekend parades on Saturday and Sunday or even Mardi Gras Day. You're going to be out there for hours on end. I think it's going to actually be a warm Mardi Gras. So you want to make sure you are hydrated and don't drink too much. That segues right into the don'ts. Don't be the drunk one out there. Don't be the sloppy drunk one who's out there making a fool of themselves and ruining the day for your friends because they've got to also take care of you. Don't use a fake ID. You're going to get kicked out of places because everybody can scan them now and they've got better ways to figure out if it's fake or not. Don't urinate in public. Don't go run down the side of somebody's house or the side of a building and think you're going to get away. There are cameras everywhere now. And even if you don't think you're being watched, you are being watched and you're being seen. And you might not get caught then, but there's a possibility you get caught down the road. And that's going to affect not only um, if they can identify you as a Tulane student, disciplinary wise, they can also issue you a summons for a variety of different things, and you can get arrested, and you don't want to do that. Don't carry a glass container. That's one of the rules. Doesn't matter if you're breaking it or not. You're just not allowed to have glass containers. We're allowed to have open containers in this city. Put it in a plastic cup. Use a aluminum can. It's not worth your energy to get in trouble for carrying a glass container. Don't throw back any beads or any throws. We always like to say don't feed the tubas because for whatever reason, people like to feed the tubas along the route, and that goes into listen to the band moms and don't mess with the band members. Um, don't touch or harass anybody. That's for all life, not just parades or Mardi Gras. And also make sure when you leave with a group of people and you're either leaving from campus or somebody's apartment and you're going out as a group of 4 or 5 or however many, that you return to wherever you're supposed to return to in with that same number of people. Don't, as the Marines say, no man left behind. Don't leave somebody behind because they're drunk in the French Quarter and you don't want to deal with them anymore. Those are your friends. Those are the people that you want to take care of and make sure when you leave with 5 people, you come back home with 5 people, no matter what. And then call me if you have any problems.
Awesome. And I guess on that note, Brigid, if students get arrested or they're issued a summons, will Tulane automatically know if they call you, or what's the process if someone gets in trouble and they call your number?
So if they call my number directly, Tulane doesn't necessarily know if they get a summons or arrested by NOPD. But if they get a summons or arrested through Tulane police, then definitely Tulane is notified. There is a process that I'm not part of where administration gets notified. And sometimes that's also how they get to me. If Tulane police arrest and it gets notified administratively, it comes to me that way. But the university might not necessarily get notified if they get arrested or summoned through NOPD. And then they might be stranded kind of in the jail if Tulane isn't notified.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple of questions that we were sent beforehand. Some of them are for Bridget, some of them are for Dean Woodley, and some are for Captain Williams. So I'm going to go ahead and Penny, if you can pause. Perfect. Um, okay. Well, I guess kind of going off of the same question, either Captain Williams or Bridget, I think you guys could answer this. What is the difference between a summons and an arrest? And what is the process with a summons versus the process with an arrest, either by TUPD or NOPD?
You want to start, Captain Williams, and I'll finish it?
Sure. Really, the difference is a summons is an arrest, but it's not a physical arrest. It's they receive a summons, kind of like a traffic ticket, with a and they sign it with a promise to appear in court on a certain date. It's for misdemeanor offenses. It's no difference if we issued a summons or NOPD issued. We've used the same paperwork, same court, same everything. Bridget could probably give you the more legal definition of that's really it's an arrest in lieu of a physical arrest, but you're not transported to lockup and have to bail out and stuff like that.
Yeah. So then once you receive the summons, we'll just take that as the where we're going from. Once you receive the summons, it'll have a date on it to appear in court, and you have to appear, since we're talking about New Orleans or Tulane PD, you'll have to appear in New Orleans Municipal Court or New Orleans Traffic Court, which are both in the same building, and appear on that date and enter a plea of guilty or not guilty and go through the criminal justice process that way. But if you get arrested by either NOPD or TUPD, you go to what is now called the Orleans Justice Center, OJC. You get booked into their custody, and then you have to wait until a bond gets set for you. And then once the bond gets set for you, somebody has to post a bond for you with a bonding company or pay a cash bond and cross your fingers that the jail releases you in a quick manner. Or during Mardi Gras, for instance, people in the past have been stuck in there for several days. It's much better now, but it's still a multiple hour process, up to 12 hours, to get out once that bond is posted. Once the bond is posted, then you'll have to retain an attorney and you'll have to figure out how to proceed. And once the DA, if the district attorney decides to accept charges, it's much further steps. But just that initial portion is you're stuck in custody for probably at least 12 hours until you can get released. And then you have to retain an attorney to help you.
Can I add something to that? We see not infrequently, students who are getting a summons, and because of something that Brigid mentioned earlier, which is people not kind of cooperating or doing what the police are instructing them to do, it changes from a summons to a custodial arrest. And so just underscoring a million times, comply with what they're asking you to do, the police, and again, that's NOPD or TUPD.
Yes,
Thank you, Dean
because,
Woodley.
and one real quick, Maisie, just based on that, Dean Woodley, when you are getting a summons, you have to sign for it. You're signing for the receipt of it. You're not signing to admit that you did whatever is they say you did on that summons. It's like a ticket. You're not signing that you agree that you were speeding or ran the stop sign. You're just saying, I'm signing this to say, yes, I received this ticket. Take the ticket, move on with your day, and deal with it at a different time so you do not get that custodial arrest.
Awesome. Well, I guess for Dean Woodley, kind of in the same line, um, if Tulane is notified because TUPD makes an arrest or because there was some sort of conduct issue, what does a conduct hearing look like, and what is the process for that? And what kind of discretion does Tulane have in terms of navigating these types of offenses?
We actually have a lot of discretion. The code outlines like basically three processes. One that's kind of an educational situation. We'll sit down and talk to you about what you did. And then one that's not, you're going to have some consequences and it's going to be on your record, but it's not necessarily something that's going to have a full-on investigation. And then the last type is a major matter investigation. And that happens when someone's facing suspension. During Mardi Gras, we tend to there's a lot that happens, as you might imagine. And so we kind of tend to prioritize things as they come in. A couple of years ago, we had some students who basically shut down the RTA because they wouldn't move out of the way of the streetcars. We got those students in that day to talk about kind of the impact of their actions. And so, some things are expedited. If a student is accused of something violent or something in that way, that would be kind of more immediate follow-up on our part. And then the other thing that happens literally every year is we get calls. I get calls. Someone put my cell phone number on Nextdoor a few years ago, so it's out there. So I get calls about students' behavior on the parade route. And I think TUPD also gets these calls, just, community members who are unhappy about who they perceive as Tulane students' behavior on the parade route. And, Brigid mentioned this, a lot of folks have cameras now, like everyone with a cell phone, basically. And so if you're acting really disrespectful on a parade route, which is, filled with families and little kids and old people, chances are we're going to find out about it and there's going to be some pretty immediate follow-up for that.
A very good reminder. Um, this, I guess, also kind of you may be able to answer, or perhaps one of the students can chime in. Obviously, some of the biggest things that will be implicated in, a negative way, COPD, NOPD, potentially Dean Woodley getting a cell phone call from some unhappy parent because someone took their spot. But what are there any other resources offered either by Tulane or affiliated organizations that students should know about in Mardi Gras? I think someone had been telling me about TEMS, or I don't know.
There are loads, and I really want Kioja and Roma to talk about heart first. I think that's one of the most important. Like it's such a good initiative, and also it comes with a reminder that I'm sure they'll give you.
Yeah, I would say Heart is a really big resource during Mardi Gras period. So like I said, Heart is a drug harm reduction coalition. So we do distribution events where we give out Narcan, which is nasal spray that reverses an opioid overdose, and we give out fentanyl testing strips, which you can test your substance for fentanyl. A misconception is that, oh, I'm not doing these things, so I don't need to have Narcan on me. I don't need to have testing strips on me. But a lot of the reasons why we tell people just to come by and like put it in your little fanny pack or put it in your pockets, because you never know if a community member might need it or if anybody that you know might need it. It's always great to have like something that can save a life on you during these times, because you never know. But yeah, so that's like our resource. But I also would say Safe Hotline. Always have their little card, or you can just like look up Safe Hotline. And that's like also a really good resource. I used to have it on the back of my phone case, just in case I needed it. But yeah, I also think that's good resources.
How do students get in touch with Heart?
Yeah, so we actually have a distribution tabling event on the 11th from 11 to 3 on McAllister. And if we run out or we close early, students can also contact our Instagram. It's like heart.tulane. And you can DM us, and we have loads of like fentanyl testing strips to give out. So if you need that, we'll be great to like meet up with you and give it to you. For Narcan, we're kind of like we don't have as much, but we're also down to like try to find ways to get it to you. Everything is anonymous, so you can come and grab stuff. You don't have to like scan your splash card. You don't have to put your name on anything if you don't want anybody to know that you're getting drug harm reduction things. And if you DM the Instagram, we're just going to drop it off and let you have it. We're not going to ask you any questions. But yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to underscore a couple of things Kyoja said. Definitely Heart's an amazing resource for students, and I think she kind of touched on a lot of that. One thing that I kind of wanted to underscore was Tulane's medical amnesty policy, and to basically, call if you see a friend, if yourself, or even just, some other Tulane student. It's always important to, kind of call instead of not when you're worried about any kind of disciplinary action, especially when you're out on a parade route where it's a little bit more foreign of a space. I also wanted to shout out for any students that are maybe viewing this and they don't know, to call the TUPD emergency hotline instead of the non-emergency in those emergent situations. And that number, I mean, I have it memorized. I think all students should just have it memorized, is 504-865-5911. And those last three numbers are especially important because that kind of distinguishes the emergency from the non-emergency hotline. And then lastly would just be to take use of the Tulane shuttles. I know like a big thing during Mardi Gras is transportation for students safely to the parade route. And there's lots of, I guess, not as safe options to get to the parades, but one option that is pretty reliable is the Tulane shuttles. They pick you up right outside the Commons. There's even ways that you can sign up for these notifications so you can see when the shuttles are coming to the Commons. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty easy way to kind of plan out your Mardi Gras and do it in a safe way as a student that's living uptown. So.
I would add two things to that. That's great. You guys covered a lot. We do have our on-call folks 24/7 during that time, and that number is 504-920-9900. So if you need help, you can call that number anytime. The other thing, and Roma alluded to this, but she didn't say it outright. A lot of folks have in the past used U-Hauls to transport human beings to the parades, U-Hauls and pickup trucks in the back of pickup trucks. Both of those are not advised. We had a student get pretty seriously injured last year, and I mean, it goes without saying it's not safe. So that's why we have the shuttles. You're allowed to have your drinks on the shuttles now, and you can bring food and drink on the shuttles, which is not typically allowed. And so we really want you to use those.
If there's one thing I'd like to add, this is a card that is found in Campus Health. It's by the Student Resources and Support Services, and this has the numbers of everything like TUPD, all the emergency numbers. So I tell students like try to have this around with you in your wallets so that anything happens, you have it labeled like the emergency numbers are in red and the non-emergency numbers are in black. So you can just look at it and if you have anything going on or something that you need help with, this is the best place. This is like the best thing to have with you in hand because it gives you like the Tulane resources that are offered. And yeah, this is something I recommend all the students to keep so that just something simple. It's a card that can be kept on the wall. It's not going to occupy much space. So this would be a great resource for students. I would just encourage them to pick it out of campus health or in the libraries, because I've seen so many of these cards over there, and they can just, pick it up and have it for themselves.
All really great advice. Staying with the students, for any student that hasn't been in Louisiana before or that this is their first Mardi Gras, what would you recommend in terms of preparation, planning, what to bring on the route, just general advice?
Yeah, my main thing that I tell like younger students is to have a group. Every parade have a group. Me and my friends, like if there's a different groups, like me and my friends used to name the group chat Muses group or Crew de Vue group or Cleopatra group. Always have a group. Make sure you're sharing locations with the people inside of that group, because it's really easy to lose somebody in these crowds. And you're trying to call them, they can't hear you, you're not answering the calls, the text not going through, but at least you know like where they're last, like where they were last, and you can try to go around that area. So either find my iPhone or Life 360 if they're comfortable with giving you that. Those are like my main things. So like always have a group. Yeah, so those are my main.
Based on personal experience, what I would say is yes, like Kioja said, travel in groups, go to well-lit areas, because I mean, go to well-lit areas and areas where there are like less crowd, where there is a less crowd, because sometimes there are people who drink a lot and they tend to behave a little erratically. So if you notice that, just please stay away from them at all costs, and please carry some water and a small amount of snacks, because float lag is very common in Mardi Gras, especially this year. I've seen it a lot, and we get very hungry and very dehydrated. So please carry some of that. And Campus Health actually gives these, crew kits, which has like vitamin C, electrolyte water, electrolyte, sachets and everything. So bring that with you and move around with that, because that came in handy for me in a couple of parades. So I would recommend the students to bring that. But at the end of the day, just stay safe. Don't lose each other in the crowd. Just try to stick together as much as possible. Keep track of each other, and just be safe out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to add something really quickly. So I'm from Louisiana, I'm from Lafayette, but it's very different Mardi Gras than New Orleans. So coming to Tulane, Mardi Gras is just very different here, which is great. It's a lot of fun. But I think one thing that I would advise to students, which I actually found out once I was here, is to what I did was I changed my like home screen or my lock screen on my phone to like if found, call this number. And we actually advise like most of our friends, and most of our friends do it already. So that way, if you lose a phone on the parade route, which happens more often than you would think, that person can call that number, hopefully. Another thing would be to kind of carry around a portable charger. Like they were saying, like sometimes when your phone is dead, they can still try to track it, but it would just be so much easier if you had charge. So I think, that's definitely something that you can find like on Amazon. You can find pretty small ones that fit like in a fanny pack. So another definitely like big investment to make before you kind of head out to the parade route.
And I know I'm just the moderator, but I want to highlight something that Bridget said earlier about not peeing where you're not supposed to be peeing. I would advise bringing cash. Oftentimes, there are places where you can pay to use a restroom, and sometimes it is not a card situation. So I would encourage cash. I also would encourage thinking about a bathroom plan generally. Bridget, do you have any other general tips, or Erica?
Two segues off of that. The Sacred Heart dads always have a bajillion portalets that they charge. I think it's like 10 or 20 bucks for the weekend. And they keep them clean, and they're nice, and it's well lit, and it's hardly ever a line. And that's where a lot of college students go. So I would say keep your eye out for that, kind of by Napoleon and St. Charles. And then also don't put your phone in your back pocket. Put your phone in either a hippie pack or whatever they're called now. My old self doesn't know what they're called anymore. Or in your
Fanny
front
pack.
pocket, fanny pack, or something else. I think actually Dean Woodley and I had a friend in common, have her phone stolen out of her back pocket a couple Mardi Gras ago from one of the rings that come in town, specifically to snatch cell phones. And then I think they found it in Florida or something. So keep your phone out of your back pocket, um, for pickpocketers and for portalet floors.
Awesome. I mean, not awesome at all, actually, the Florida phone rings. But for Captain Williams, this was another question that we had. Obviously, there is a lot of fun being had at Mardi Gras. What type of behavior escalates general fun, general rowdiness to offense level?
I guess that's a good question, because it's chaotic fun, but then it becomes a police matter, and really violence and any threats, you know, where it interferes with the ability for other people, the kids we mentioned earlier, and families to enjoy the parade and the bands and things. Alcohol and drug driven escalation, any kind of disorderly conduct, and really just listen to the police. They're not telling you things because they want to. They're telling you things for your safety, the safety of others, and for other people to be able to enjoy it. Just listen to the police, and you normally won't have a problem. The police do not want to arrest anybody. I always tell people, the people that get arrested arrest themselves. We're not out there with a quota, a set number of people we want to put in jail. Excuse me. People, we try to negotiate, try to get them to behave, and it's usually alcohol or drug induced, and it gets out of control. Just maybe have a sober buddy that can kind of pull you back from the crowd and keep you in line. It's not a bad idea.
Also, whippets are illegal,
Hmm.
just as an aside. Every year, I think people think because you can buy them on Amazon that it's fine, but they're not intended for that use. And so, I think if you feel, we see that every year, students doing them on the parade route and just around Broadway, and it really, I mean, they're illegal, and the enforcement has been stepped up a bit on that, in terms of people selling them now and people doing them. So just understand that they're illegal.
Um, Good things, very good things to keep in mind. Okay, well, we have one last question, but before we get there, I wanted to open the floor to Captain Williams or Dean Woodley or Brigid. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you think, is important to highlight or important to keep in mind over the next week and then for next Mardi Gras season too?
One thing I have, when people need help, a lot of times they have no idea where they're at. No, a landmark, a cross streets, St. Charles. If you tell us, or you call 911, you say, I'm at the parade. The parades run for miles and miles. We have no idea where you're at. Normally on a parade or Bourbon Street or Broadway Street, there's a lot of police. You can flag one down. It's easier. But if you happen to have to call 911, try to know generally where you're at, because we have no idea. 911's not going to tell us you're on, a certain intersection. Just, try to, that's what I recommend. Know where you're at is a big deal, because we search and search, and it's hard to find people that really need help. And it's kind of frustrating for us as well as the people needing help.
Like a cross street ideally, or, a
A
landmark
restaurant
or,
in front of
yeah.
whatever restaurant or something, whatever, any landmark, cross streets or something would be great.
Um, Dean
I,
Woodley, anything
yeah,
else?
I think one thing that we didn't mention, TULAP, Brigid services are available for students who are arrested as long as they're not arrested for committing a crime against another member of our community. So if you're in a physical altercation with another Tulane student, Brigid's not going to be able to help you. And what we do in those cases is call your emergency contact to help, like if we're notified. Again, like she said, if you get arrested by NOPD, we might not even know about it. But that is an important kind of thing to know. that if there's a conflict, if it's student against student, she can't help you out in that situation. You could still call her, and she can help get you to someone else, but the kind of two-lane protocol in those situations is that we would call your emergency contact.
And if you are issued a summons from NOPD or arrested by NOPD, you still can call Brigid. It does not have to be a two-lane, a TUPD issue, and it might not even make its way to Tulane's knowledge at all. If you call Brigid, even though she is, technically Tulane affiliated, just as a disclaimer.
That's actually an important one. Brigid doesn't report back to us. Like she doesn't share anything that happens with us. We sometimes tell her that you've been arrested, but she doesn't then report back and say, here's what's happening, So you want to say more about that, Brigid?
Yeah, I was just going to say, attorney-client privilege means that I am legally obligated to not share information with the university. So anybody that contacts me or comes through these doors, if Tulane hears about it, they don't hear about it through me. If the dean hears about it, they don't hear about it through me. If the PUPD hears about anything, they're not hearing about it through me because I'm legally and ethically and professionally obligated to not share that information with anybody else because I like my law license and I'm not losing it.
And Louisiana would not like you breaking those ethical rules. Okay, well, let's ask our very last question and then we'll wrap it up. So, for the students and for the adults, if you guys want to answer, how were your expectations about Mardi Gras different from what you experienced, either good or bad?
I can go first. I think for me, I have family who are like from like Louisiana and New Orleans. So I thought like Mardi Gras was only about parades and that was like the only thing that was going on that was Mardi Gras related. But I like slowly found out that like outside of that Tulane bubble, like you can find lots of other things that are going around that are like Mardi Gras related. Like the whole spirit of Mardi Gras is like everywhere. So like king cake tasting, like cultural films about the history of Mardi Gras in New Orleans, things like that. All there's like so much to like see that isn't like parade and partying, even though those are fun too. But like there's so many things to like also like reach out and like understand and like, you know, dive into. And I think like being if you're not from Louisiana and you're not from New Orleans, I think that it's really important to kind of immerse yourself in that culture and try to like understand it because it's here for you to celebrate and everything, but it's also really important for you to kind of, have knowledge on like what you're celebrating and what it means. So yeah, I'll say like that. Yeah, that was mine.
Well, to continue off from my angle, I didn't know what to expect when I was traveling from India to New Orleans. I didn't know that Mardi Gras was a thing until I got here. So when I got here in 2024, people were telling me that Mardi Gras is a big deal and there'll be parades and all of that. So I didn't even know what they were talking about. I didn't make the effort to Google it because I didn't want to have a preset expectation in mind. And when I went for the parades and everything, my professor recommended music. So technically that was like the first ever parade I attended, as a Mardi Gras parade. And I went with a big group of people. Like we were nearly 10 of us who went for that parade and we were out all night. And it was such a fun experience. We had such a good time together. The only thing that kind of scares me sometimes is I think about a couple of days ago, there were a bunch of people next to us who were super drunk, definitely under the influence of alcohol. If they got Mardi Gras breeds, they were throwing them back to the floats. That was the first time I saw that, and I was like, oh dear God, no, that's not the best way. So the guys in my group just kind of created like a wall between us girls, and they just stood there so that, we don't get into trouble because they were just talking and laughing like it was nothing. So I was like, no, I don't think I want to be next to that anymore. So we need to be careful about the spots we pick. And the one thing that kind of was weird for me though was when I heard about king cake, I was expecting cake and I see bread and I was like, okay, this is not what I was expecting at all. But I love king cake. I'm not gonna lie there. I eat as much as I can till I get sick of it. That's how much I eat. Like if the school gives it, I have it. So yeah, that's just been how Mardi Gras was for me.
That is so funny. Roma, do you want to take us home?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. Well, again, like I said, I'm from Lafayette, so I've done Mardi Gras, that way, and I think maybe at times more family friendly than I really got to realize it was in New Orleans. But also, like Kioja said, there's so much life in the city during Mardi Gras, and I think it's something that's so special about the city, and it really is very appealing. Um, and then also, just to kind of put that out there, like even today, I had a class with some underclassmen that, they're freshmen, they just came to Tulane, and all they've heard about for like basically the past month is Mardi Gras. And it's been really, hyped up, and it's really like an exciting time, but it can also be really overwhelming for a lot of students that aren't, used to that kind of crowd, used to that busy social schedule. And so I think just something that I wanted to say when I, got asked to be on the webinar was just kind of like take it at your own pace. And it's okay to not go to all of the parades. It's okay to take a rest day or two rest days. And even if everyone else is really hyped up about it, it's just a parade at the end of the day, and just to kind of take it light and know yourself, know your limits. Even not even, alcohol related, but just social situation related. And you can try a parade. I think they're awesome, but they're not for everyone, and you shouldn't feel pressure to kind of fit into that mold. You could have chosen New Orleans for a million other reasons outside of Mardi Gras, even though it's a lot of fun and you should definitely experience it at least once. Yeah, I think that that's also important to keep in mind, that that pressure exists and everyone knows it exists. And so, don't feel, like you are weird for not enjoying every single moment of it. So that's just it. But yeah, Mardi Gras is a lot of fun. So everyone stay safe.
That is such a good way to wrap everything up. I think that is exactly what we all need to keep in mind. Everybody experiences things differently. Everybody has different limits, whether it is social or otherwise. And it's important to listen to yourself and trust those around you, keep your friends close. Um, and so I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who attended. Thank you to everybody who sent in questions earlier. And if you guys need any support during carnival season or outside, TULAP is always here for you. Um, Dean Woodley is always here for you, and as well as Heart and all of the other resources that everyone has mentioned. So thank you guys for your attention. And thank you to all of our panelists for all of your insight and advice. I really am so appreciative of all of you. So yeah, with that, I hope everybody has a wonderful week, has a great Muses Thursday, a great end to Mardi Gras season, Captain Williams. Thank goodness. And yeah, appreciate all of you. Have fun, be safe, take care of each other.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.